another of our mayoral candidate catch-ups. It's a warm welcome to Rob Kent, who joins me now to talk about exactly what it's been like campaigning. This is kind of new territory for you, I guess, but before we get into that, Rob, and appreciate your time today, a little bit about you. Who is Rob Kent, so that the viewers at home can get to know you a bit more?
Thank you for inviting me along.
Pleasure. This
morning. Who am I? I'm a person who's basically arrived in New Zealand in 1970, fell in love with the place.
Do I detect a slight English accent?
Yes, originally from Bath
in
England,
Bath,
which is actually the home of the UK's only hot springs, so perhaps that's why I have an affinity with Rotorua. As I say, I arrived in 1970 and I've been here ever since, although I've travelled internationally, worked internationally, but in business, owning business and managing businesses for over 40 years.
So in terms of your familiarisation with Rotorua, you're obviously very local, and that's probably, am I right in saying that during that time you've grown passionate towards the city, and you would need that, wouldn't you?
I do indeed. I would also say that in my role, because most of my life I've been involved with the computer industry, and in a consultancy role and an advisory role. So I'm used to going into organisations very quickly, summing up a scenario and giving assistance and advice. So when I came to Rotorua, the first thing I do naturally, of course, is have a look at the place, sum it up for myself, and then start asking questions like, hey, there's so much opportunity here. Why isn't it happening?
So because it is a city with potential, isn't it?
Oh, it's got fantastic potential. I cannot believe the potential that's going to waste here. And basically, I think a lot of that has become because of too much introversion. There hasn't been enough people coming in from outside giving new ideas and new ways of thinking. So hopefully I can help stimulate that and get things underway.
Is that, Rob, I guess I'm asking all the candidates really, why are you standing? And that's partly why, then? You want to see things move?
Basically, someone's got to sort this mess out. It is a mess financially, and when we've got the two biggest growth industries in Rotorua are the District Council and the police, we've got a serious problem. With so much opportunity, it only needs some proper guidance and some proper help and some thinking outside the box for a change.
We've got 31 candidates putting their hands up to join council. That's a lot. Is it important for you, potentially as the mayor, to have a team of people who are relatively new, but a new blood, and some experience as well? Because you've got to have both, don't you, I think?
A balance would be very good. I would like to see a lot of new blood in the council, because I think it desperately needs new ideas, new visions, and more input from the diverse people that are actually in Rotorua.
Sure.
There's too much old thinking been going on for far too long, and that's why we've got into the position we've actually got into.
Sure. Economically, as a city, I think you've alluded to it, we have a heap of potential. There's been a lot of good work done in the past few years, but also there's a lot of work to be done. If you moved into the position of mayor, what would you address perhaps as the first issue?
Okay. The first issue I would address is the excessive expenditure that's been going on. And the first way to address that is actually looking at the council itself. The biggest problem we've got in Rotorua, if you actually do any analysis of the numbers, is the fact that we've got 579 council staff for a population that means we've got one council staff member for every 114 man, woman and child in the district. That's plainly ludicrous. We can't sustain that level of overhead. And that is why we've got not $168 million worth of debt at the end of this year, $186 million worth of debt, if you know anything about reading financial figures.
Sure. Okay, and in terms of your role, were you to become mayor, what do you think it takes to be a good leader? Because a leader, even in council, whether it's, and even in central government, it's never a one-man band, is it?
It's teamwork.
Yeah.
I'm a sailor from way back, offshore racing, you name it. It's all about teamwork, and we've been seeing that with Team New Zealand.
I was going to say, not catamarans.
Yeah. Teamwork is what it's all about. But that takes leadership as well as being part of the team.
Sure.
And it needs experience, and it needs fast thinking, and it needs the ability to cut the wheat from the chaff and get on with the job in hand.
Do you bring that?
I certainly think I do. It's what I've been doing for the last 20, 30 years.
One of the things that I'm talking again to each of the candidates about is the importance of, and part of it, maybe that's the teamwork thing as well, is maintaining unity, because the population do not want to see a divided council or gaps of division between council staff, mayor, etc. There's got to be a unified approach, doesn't there?
There has to be a unified approach, but the approach is not unified currently. And that's quite plain to see. You've only got to sit in on a council meeting and basically you've got two distinct factions and you've basically got council management telling them what to do. That's all got to change. We've got to get back to basics. The council should be like a board of directors in a public company. It should be setting the policy, setting the guidelines, setting the parameters and the financial restraints, and then saying to the CEO, that's how we want you to perform.
And then let's put
and
legs
then
on it.
making them perform to those parameters, restraints and guidelines. That's not been happening.
Sure.
If you sit in on a council meeting, you get a wad of paper this thick that they get through in 40 minutes, and basically they're given a multi-choice question and answer as to which resolution the council have already decided on, the council staff, they want to pick. It's a joke. There's no serious debate, there's no challenging of the issues, there's no questioning the numbers. The last council meeting I was at, I saw $50,000 rubber stamped like petty cash for a minor culvert extension. No financial justification whatsoever. That's crazy.
Sure.
It's not good, efficient management.
And that's why you're sitting here today. We would also want to encourage the voters as much as we can. It's all very well saying, well, you know, council this and council that and the mayor and this and the mayor that. If you haven't voted, you can't really have a say, can you? So we've got to get people responding, don't we?
If people don't vote, then don't moan later.
That's what I'm saying, exactly.
Basically.
Appreciate your time, and again, it's the same with all of the candidates. It's watch this space, see what happens in a few days' time. It's not that far away now, so all the best for the campaign.
Thank you very much indeed.